Alright, welcome back to our second video here. Ooh, Sam Adams, I didn't see you pull that out.
Yeah, cold snap,
man,
good one.
I'm doing the Bud Light again. Commish, the Raj, the TFO-FF Commish, Rusty Shackelford.
Greetings.
Last time we talked about quarterbacks and running backs for the fantasy football. You know, this week we're going to go ahead and finish it up with the receivers, and then kickers and defenses.
Yep.
And then we will be posting these numbers on the official TFO Facebook for the fantasy people to look at and see what we did right and what we did wrong.
Yep. That way you can make your own call and determine whether we're some of the greatest minds in TFO fantasy football or whether we're just a bunch of morons.
Shit crazy. So let's dive right into it. Let's dive into the receivers here. Number one is, and number three just overall is Wolverine.
That's
of the Marvel
correct.
Combat here with 37.1. That's crazy.
37.1 points a game average.
That's crazy.
This comes from the fact that he has two of the running plays.
He's
taken two running plays from the running back.
Only wide receiver to have two running plays.
The only
in
one.
A scheme.
And this is not unprecedented. In seasons past, he has run the reverse multiple times. To the bottom, to the top. Doesn't matter. He's unstoppable when he does it.
He's a very interesting character. He's a hybrid, like a receiver, running back. Season 1, he was wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Season 2, he was running back.
Yeah.
So he didn't run these runabouts last time. Liu Kang was doing that. But now, John Mann has sorted that team out, and he's projected 12 more points than the next receiver. That's crazy to think.
If we go over to look at like his receptions per game, let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick.
So that's what he's looking at for runs. 4 runs for 81 yards and a touchdown.
On average per game.
That's a wide receiver.
That's a wide receiver getting that. And then on average, can't be right, but average of two catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
No, I actually think that is right because, I mean, if you looked at how the Marvel Combat and even the Marvel Mutants played, they love doing that whole wait for Wolverine to run out as far as he can, and then Professor X shoots it, and then he jumps up there with the claws. And so, if he's running in 1 touchdown and receiving 2 touchdowns, that's 3 touchdowns on average.
Yeah.
So we could see 4, 5, 6.
No doubt why he's the number 3 pick overall for
X-Man.
fantasy football. Moving on to number 2, though. Actually, one of the first ones to break the top 8, Funshine Bear. From the
Care Bears.
Care Bears.
Care Bears, yeah.
He's a wide receiver 2, but he is also a kick returner, punt returner, getting yardage and return touchdowns for any of those.
Those are good, but the other thing you got to worry about there is we know that kick returner and punt returners are some of the most dangerous spots in TFO. That's where injuries occur. So,
it is statistically proven that about 37% of the time an injury occurs on a kickoff or punt return.
It's crazy. So he's a risk, but with 25 points, he's a second receiver in a balanced pass system. He's not taking any of the runs. This is all catches from him. I mean, on average, one reception touchdown for 45 yards. I mean, and I think the big reason for that is that
he's a wide receiver too. He's not getting the primary target in a lot of plays. A lot of his points actually are coming from the kick return attempts. He's getting about 135 kick return yards per game.
And a punt return.
A punt return of about 5 or 6. He'll probably end up breaking one of those at least for a touchdown at some point in the year.
People are going to say Funshine Bear, and a lot of these Care Bears should be higher. And I think the problem on their team is their offense is so good that they're sharing. That's what them Care Bears do, right? They share.
They do share a lot.
So it's like
they're going to be on the field a lot because their defense blows.
It's like a Peyton Manning offense. You know, if you have Demaryius Thomas, some weeks he's going to score you lots of points. Other weeks, he may never even touch the ball.
Possibly.
So,
moving on to number 3, we've got the Evil Green Ranger from the Galactic Offenders.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
This guy is the number 1 receiver in the formation, also the kick returner. Averaged at about 23.5 points a game.
Look at that. He also
steals a carry from the running back, too. Probably one of those wide reverses. Who knows?
You want to pick a wide receiver that has one of these carries, hopefully, because the more touches equals the more chances for touchdowns, which equals more chances for points.
Absolutely.
I mean, more chances for injury, but you know what? I like more chances for points.
Absolutely. Moving on to number 4, The Alcoholics Anonymous, Captain Morgan.
18.3. That's a pretty big dip. That's a 5-point dip from Evil Green Ranger, and that's almost a whopping 20-point dip from Wolverine.
Yeah.
So Wolverine's going to go first round, and then some of these are going to go second, third round.
Yeah.
I like Captain Morgan. He's got one of the runs.
Does have one of the runs.
And
I wouldn't look at him until maybe the 5th or 6th round, though. Top 3 guys here. Wolverine could be a first-round pick.
Oh, no, he's got to be
Should be a first-round pick. The other 2 guys,
second, third round.
Second and third round, solid picks. After that, I wouldn't take a wide receiver.
Captain Morgan was the offensive MVP for MAD last season. He's the first wide receiver to be an offensive MVP because he knows how to do that run, and and they're in a heavy pass scheme. So I don't think you can go wrong with him. He's a good wide receiver. So
next 2 spots are a couple from the Tolkien Tecmo heroes.
2 back-to-back.
2 back-to-back. Lord Elrond of the Elves and Galadriel, the Lady of the Forest.
Heavy pass offense.
Heavy pass offense. You got the number 1 and number 2 wide receivers here. Number 2 wide receiver.
That's interesting.
Taking one of the runs from the running back in the system.
How many teams do you see having the wide receiver to run the ball? That's the run that goes. It's the opposite, but it goes to the top.
It's a tricky one. Yeah. We'll have to see how it works out.
Their team's going to be their quarterback was in our top 8. And Gandalf looks like he's going to be a beast this season. So they're going to benefit so much.
No doubt. Coming in after them, Travis Magram.
Yeah.
The Condom.
Travis Magram at 17.1. I mean, he's in that same league with Captain Morgan and the Elves there. Mm-hmm. They're in a heavy pass scheme. They're in the Pounders. And Magram he's getting one of the runs.
Also getting one of the runs from the running back. Absolutely. The more touches, the more chances for points.
He's a TFO legend as far as I'm concerned. He's actually going to be in fantasy football. He's going to be drafting his own team, I believe. So
gotta wonder if he'll pick himself.
Oh man, would you pick yourself?
Ooh, it'd be a tough
sell. You know he's got to be good. You got to put points in yourself.
Yep.
So actually, well, that's Shock's team. So did Shock put points in him? Do you draft someone that you didn't make?
Good question. Last in the top 8 here, we've got Daggett Beaver from the Nicktoons team. One of the 2 angry beavers. He's going to be angry. He's going to be slapping that tail across the field.
I guess that's supposed to be a crocodile.
I don't know what you're doing there. I have no comment.
I mean,
just under 17 points a game in a balanced pass offense. He does also take one of the runs from the running back in the system.
He's the last one that gets about an average of 16. Receivers aren't known for getting a lot of points there. So, I mean, if you're going with a receiver, if you're going for a number 1 receiver, really there's 3, Wolverine, Funshine, Green Ranger. And then you got your middle of your pack here, Morgan, the Elves, Magram, Beaver. And then you got the third row here, which is going to be consulting them, they didn't make our list.
Honorable mentions.
Rory Williams, Sailor Jerry, Sir Jamie, Willie Galt, who had a hell of a season last year.
I believe, he did have one hell of a season. Maybe he might be a good sleeper in there. Who knows? In that offense, especially with what's his name? Plunkett in
Jim
there
Plunkett.
Slinging the ball around. He could be a good sleeper in possibly one of the 4th or 5th rounds.
I mean, look at how many players there have 18 to 10 points. There's a good margin of players there. I'm going to say probably like 20, 25.
Yeah, a lot of middle of the road stuff there. But
so I mean, it's going to be it's going to be
as far as receivers go, you got your top 3. You got Wolverine, Funshine Bear, and the Evil Green Ranger. Under that, take your pick.
It's going to be preference. It's going to be like, I like the Angry Beavers. That's an awesome show, so I'm going to go with
Speaking
that.
of take your pick, it's time to talk about kickers.
Kickers. Hey, no, I think kickers is important because I think there's 2 real things that you need to look in a team with a kicker as far as I'm concerned. Either A, a team that's going to score a shitload, and then that kicker's just getting free points because there's so many touchdowns. 7 touchdowns scored in a game, that's 7 points for a kicker right there. And hey, maybe they got held once, so he gets a field goal. That's crazy. Or a second thing that you want to look for is a team that just underperforms in that red zone every single time, and the kicker's got to come out and make those points. And the number 1 kickers here, I mean, I think that they exemplify teams that are planning to score shitloads of points. We got Rod Gozinia from the Cleveland Steamers. You take that name. Shunyo Uzuki?
Shion
Uzuki. I don't know what that's from. I'm going to say that's a she. I think I remember that. From the Defenders, Galactic Defenders, and one of my personal favorites, Yingling Lager from the Beer Gods. I think these are all teams that plan on pounding that ball into that end zone as hard as they can. You know what I mean? They're not looking to play a lot of defense.
I agree with that, but besides those 3, The next, what is this?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next 8 are all tied for 4th.
So like I said,
6 points. The first 3 are looking at 7 points on average.
It doesn't matter.
The next ones are 6.
Take your pick from kickers.
You just don't want to pick any of the shitty kickers here.
Let's move on to defenses.
Here, let's name some of these shitty kickers.
I don't care
you don't
about
care about
these
shitty
fucking kickers.
Ravish and Rick Rude's down there. That's because you're scoring touchdowns. You don't care about...
Fucking
Hey, Ravish and Rick Rude matters. Defenses. All the defenders...
Now, here's something that definitely will matter. Because a defense that can hold... now, don't get me wrong. TFO is an offensive game. It's definitely...
Lots of points are going to get scored.
Lots of points getting scored. Lots of yards getting made. You just don't want somebody that's going to get a 70, an 80 hung on them. Because that's going to kill you.
Or you want a team that's going to intercept the ball. You know, fumbles aren't counting towards your defense because TFO doesn't track them. Tecmo doesn't track them.
Limitation of Tecmo football in itself.
So really, the defense you're looking for is if they're getting an interception and they're scoring a touchdown with that interception, or they getting sacks. Yeah. Sacks are what you're also looking for.
Yes. You want sacks. You want interceptions. Prevention of yards.
And points.
And points. Yeah, if you can get a touchdown out of it, that's great. But from what I can tell... looks like there's really only one defense with a touchdown, but let's get into it here. Number 1 defense, appropriately named, the Galactic Defenders.
They're averaging 10 points, so you know they're doing something
They're getting about 10 points a game. Do we have any actual stats on these defenses here?
But I think the big thing there is they're looking at like 3 interceptions. They look like that they're guarding out that. Teams that are guarding that interception.
Top 3 defenses here, actually. The top 5 defenses, actually, are the ones getting lots of turnovers. Yeah. Among the top 5 defenses, 4 teams are getting 3 interceptions a game. One of them's getting 4. It's not the defenders. We'll get to them. Second in the list is the Cleveland Steamers.
Well, let's tie here. We got...
I'm sorry.
Second
on the list
Cleveland Steamers, the Whovians, Tolkien's Tecmo Heroes, the Boxhead Capers, the Marvel Combat.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm going to cut this list off right here. And the Boxhead Capers. Yeah. I don't know why Marvel Combat is actually listed as the same as them.
It's because they have a defensive touchdown. Like,
that's correct.
Like, defensive touchdowns mean interception touchdowns.
Defensive touchdowns will do it. Fair enough. We'll include them, too. But the Boxhead Capers, again, the ones that get... Boxhead Capers are projected for 4 interceptions a game. That's where you're going to get your points. That's also where you can get a chance for, if you have offensive players on that same team, you want to put them in there because that's where you're going to get the turnovers.
You also want to look at who your defense is playing here. If you know they're playing a powerhouse offense, you know, like the Care Bears. I don't want to take a defense that's playing the Care Bears because I know the Care Bears are going to be out there scoring lots of points, lots of yards,
absolutely,
lots of touches. So you need to look at that as well because there are going to be a lot of these defenses that some weeks they're going to be heaven and some weeks they're going to be hell.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, personally, my opinion would be you go with the ones that are getting the turnovers. Defensive touchdowns are great and all, but turnovers is where it's at.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Rounding out the top 8 there. Oh, wait a minute.
That
moved it on me.
I did move it because that was the top 8, dude.
Right. 3 and 5. I guess that'll do it. Yeah.
Then you got the 8-Bit Brigade and the Westeros Guardians pulling. I guess there's 7.
We don't need to mention anybody else.
And then in 9th, you got the South Jersey Slouches, Pounders, the Supernaturals, the Exo Squads, the New World Order, and the Turtles.
Whatever. So we've given you the top 8.
Just don't take one of these crappy defenses. The Care Bears, we know their defense is going to suck. Don't take the Care Bears defense. The Raiders suck too, and so do the Champs Chumps and the Florida Gators. The WWF Superstars aren't on that list.
Moving on.
They're not on that list.
We've given you the top 8 at each position.